What's up, guys? Welcome back to Blues Nation. And guess what we have this weekend? We have a huge fixture. A huge fixture, guys, I'm really excited for. Yeah, we've been up and down with our performances lately. Our results have been spotty at best. But what is a great way to rewrite that script, rewrite that story? Great way to do that, guys, is by beating a league favorite. So this Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Chelsea is playing Liverpool. And man, guys, I'm really excited about it. Today we're going to do a match prediction. We're going to talk about what are their weaknesses, what are our weaknesses. Let's be real. We're going to build a squad together and we're going to predict the side. So let's go ahead and first hop into what I think are Liverpool's weaknesses that we can actually look to exploit. So let's go ahead and do that real fast. Okay, guys, so if you see right here, I just pulled up, I'll pop like a little screen clip up next to me as we're looking at these weaknesses, right, of Liverpool. They are an extremely, and you might call me crazy, and that's fine, they are a beatable team. Saying extremely beatable might be a little bit ripe, but they're a beatable team for sure. They're not by any means an invincible team. And what I want to do to show you that is look at the next to me, probably pop it up here or here. Look at these fixtures that they've played in. In my opinion, I don't think there is a single convincing victory from the scope of this season. They've lost to Crystal Palace twice. They only beat Newcastle by 1 goal, and Newcastle was on a red card. They beat Burnley by 1 goal, and Burnley was on a red card for almost 20 minutes. They beat Arsenal by 1, which is a good win, obviously. They beat Everton slightly by 1 goal. Again, also that Burnley game was a win from a Salah penalty. They beat Southampton by 1 goal. And like I said a minute ago, they lost to Crystal Palace by 1, and they lost to Galatasaray this past weekend. So guys, don't get me wrong. Of course, Liverpool are the league favorites. I would be surprised if they don't win the Prem this year and go far in the Champions League. But what I am saying is don't get conflated in your mind that this is some invincible team that has no flaws, that has no problems, that has nothing that we could possibly attack. Like, they are a team that has its fair number of weaknesses. And I actually think so far they have definitely been weaker than they were last year. And this is something that if I talk about this, I think a little bit in the preseason predictions, I think that Liverpool addressed too much in the transfer window. And what I mean by that is, you know the phrase that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think they didn't do that. They tried to fix something that was not broken. They tried to fix something that was working. And I get that, right? Because they have an old team, a much older squad than ours by years. So they're trying to address it before they went downhill, and I understand that. But the problem is they brought in so many new faces that want to be on the ball, that want to be progressive, that want to push forward, right? They have 2 center forwards that they brought in, Ekitike, Isak, right? And behind them, they have Florian Wirtz. They have so many players with immense talent, right? And if they get going, it's terrifying. But I think they've done too much. They brought in too much. They kind of reminds me of, if you remember, after we won the Champions League, we basically said, all right, everybody leave. We're going to bring in a whole new squad. And that kind of brought in, we're being real, the dark ages, right, of the past couple of years. I'm not saying it's going to be to that extent at all. What I am saying is I think the reason there's growing pains for Liverpool is because they did too much change too quickly. And again, I'm not saying that I think they're a weak team or anything like that. Of course, they're a strong team. They're the strongest team in the Premier League still. Don't overinflate the last couple of results. What I am saying is they are a team that I do think we're capable of competing with. Don't make it out like there's some kind of untouchable species that's in a whole nother league. Like, we can compete. I think we can compete with anybody on our day. So that's my opinion on Liverpool. Now let's go over and hop to some ideas, some concerns we should have about our Chelsea. Okay, guys, so you should be able to see right here on your screen an injury list. This is Chelsea's injury list on PremierLeague.com, supposedly up to date to an extent. And there's one particular concern that I want to highlight before we build our squad together that I'm curious to see if you guys agree with. So let's just read through this. We have Levi Colwill out for likely the season. Liam Delap out till November. Dario Asugo, I think, out till the new year. Cole Palmer out till probably the international break is over. Tosin Adarabioyo I think he's a couple weeks as well. I think as well till the international break is over. Wesley Fofana, who's again basically till the international break because it's concussion, and Andre Santos with a knock. So I don't think it's anything particularly complicated for him. He's going to be out for this game, and thankfully he wasn't chosen for Brazil's squad, so he'll be fine supposedly after the international break as well. So the good news is in this, we have a lot of players who are going to be back to full health apparently right after the international break. So while if you know me, you know this is the truth. I hate how many international breaks there are. It's so annoying. It's just like once we get in the groove of things, oh, we're done. We're done, right? It's so annoying. But this one I think falls at a good time because we're going to get much healthier through this little bit of break. But the problem, if you see here, on this list, there's one position that you see three from. One position group that you see three players from. At center back, Wesley Fofana, Tosin Adarabioyo, and Levi Colwill. That leaves us exceptionally light, and especially because, I don't know if you guys recall, but Trevor Chalobah is out for this match because of his, surprise, surprise, red card. So that leaves us with Benoit Badiashile, Josh Achampong as essentially our only out-and-out center backs. And hear me out, I love Josh Achampong, but he's not been given an exceptional amount of minutes, so I don't think he'll start this match. And that might give you a little hint at an issue we have. Who is going to be our center back pairing for this game? So, without further ado, let's hop over and we're going to make a lineup together. Okay, guys, so this is on Lineup Builder, and we're going to build this together, so hopefully I don't have any spelling issues. So we'll see. All right, first off, we're going to put in Robert Sanchez at goal. He's not suspended and he's not injured, so big ups. The back line, this is where going to be most of the intrigue is, guys. So let's build this together. First off, at right back, I'm going to have Malo Gusto. You slot at the right back for me. At the left back position, I'm going to have Mark Cucurella. Big surprise there, right? He has to be there. He has, I actually think, a fairly decent record against Salah. Left back, or left center back, I don't think this is a big surprise. I actually think Benoit Badiashile looked really promising in a game against Benfica in a Champions League night, so that was good to see. And then hear me out. This is where you could push Josh Achampong, but I'm not going to do that. I think he'll likely come off the bench, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to put Reece James. The reason I'm doing that is I think he is a player of a certain echelon to where he can play almost anywhere on the pitch, and I think anywhere in the back line, and he can do a job. I think we need the experience. I think we need the leadership. So what does that look like? Is he going to play as an out-and-out center back? I don't think so. Because what I think ultimately is going to happen, I actually think, and this is totally experimental. I don't necessarily think this is going to happen, but I think it could be a good solution. I think that what we're going to see happen is that we're going to let Malo Gusto kind of participate as that roaming wing back that can go up and do his thing, which is, I think, the way he functions best. And normally Cucurella does that on the left side and actually kind of comes in the midfield a bit. What I think is going to happen is in possession, we're going to turn into a back three where I think Gusto will go up and help in the attacking field, and then these three are going to make a functional back three, which I think Reece James can absolutely function in that role as essentially a third center back. Is it, yes, out of position having essentially two fullbacks being a partnership of three? Yeah, of course it is, but it's by necessity. So this would, of course, negate Cucurella's ability to rush forward all the time, but I would rather, I think I would rather have him here than have it be inverse and have Gusto be a third center back, because I think Gusto is really good defensively on the edges, but not necessarily internally. And also, I'd rather have a dedicated defender on Salah's side. So that's what I'm thinking there. So that's our back four and our keeper. Let's go to the center of the part. This is where it's going to start to get boring. We have Moises Caicedo playing, of course. He played amazing against Benfica. When does he not, however? And then we're going to have Enzo Fernandez next to him. I think he was okay in the game, and I think we need that leadership. I think it's good that we don't have that much turnover there. And then in the middle, this is where it starts to get interesting, right? Because Cole Palmer is not currently playing. I don't really want to see Facundo Buonanotte. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put, and I also, let me tell you, don't want to see Tyreek George in the number 9 position. I don't know if you guys do. I do not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Esteval in this attacking midfielder position. And then on the right, I'm going to put Pedro Neto. I love Pedro Neto. I'm aware he needs a little bit more output again. However, he has such a good ability to put the ball into the box. He is so good defensively, in my opinion. His work rate is astonishing, and you can't sit him out. And then on the left, I'm going to put Garnacho. I think he obviously forced the goal in the middle of the week. I think he's working hard. I think he desperately wants to prove himself, which I think is a really good thing. And then up top, thankfully, Joao Pedro is not suspended for this game because it was a red card in the Champions League. So he's going to be up top for me. Of course, he didn't play hardly at all because he came on late and he went off early. So that's my starting 11, guys. I think that is a very dangerous team. I think even without the likes of Cole Palmer up top and without the likes of Levi Colwill, Tosin, Wesley Fofana in the back, I think it's a team that might be structured enough if we strategically play in the way that I talked about with those 3 functional center backs while Gusto bombs up. And then with that creativity at the top of the pitch. So I think this is a team that can compete absolutely, even in the midst of a bit of an injury crisis. And I'm excited to see how we perform. So let's go ahead and close out this video with my score prediction, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, guys, so of course this is a huge match against Liverpool. But what I will say is across the board, don't get too overreactionary about this. I've seen people calling for Maresca. Obviously, that's across the board in the media as well. I think that is absurd. We need to be more disciplined. Yes, he has areas he needs to grow immensely in. However, I think the idea of firing him is foolish at best. So my opinion of that would not change in this game either, no matter the outcome. However, I do think Liverpool is in a bit of a shoddy little window of form, and Chelsea got a good result, a needed result against Benfica. It wasn't convincing necessarily, but it was convincing defensively, which is good. So in this game, I'm not predicting a win, but I'm also not predicting a loss. What I'm predicting in this game on Saturday is a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a little bit back and forth. I think there will be moments where we look very good, and moments where it seems like we're going to let in several goals. But I think we can survive this game. I think we can get a draw, which I think would be a tremendous result for us, getting a draw against the league favorites in Liverpool. But I am curious, what are your guys' predictions? A few of you started to interact in those comments, and that's awesome. I love interacting with every single comment right now, which is really a good time to get that conversation going. What are your guys' predicted score lines? How would you set up the back 4? Is it different than mine? Obviously, mine's a little bit of a hypothetical. How would you set it up? Would you just put in Josh, conventional center back, use the same system? What would you do? So guys, if you haven't yet, like this video. It helps get it out to more people. Subscribe, join the crew, and we'll be seeing you next week. Have a good weekend. Enjoy watching our Blues.